Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bloodstained Wings, and this one is going to be very hard for me to describe to you. But I will do my best to describe to you what it is I am planning to do. So I have a two-parter painting coming up, and this is part one. And in part one, we are going to be doing the summertime of a landscape, and it will look something like this. Ta-da! And then part two, we're going to fill in all the gaps between the mountains and the lake and stuff. And we're going to fill that in with winter, and that'll be part two. So let's get on with part one, and you'll see how this process starts and how it goes. So how this process starts is that we thank VoiceOver BSW for making an appearance. Thank you so much. Well done. Long story short, you know. Anyways, this story starts the same as usual, where we prep the entire canvas with our goop. As always, in the description I will have, you know, what it is all written out for you guys, so you guys can do that. After you cover the entire painting with the goop, you're going to use a mixture of the white with the goop, the titanium white, as it were, so that it has a nice base to start from. Now you can see that I have applied tape in strips, and that is how the painting is going to be around here. And I've got an idea as to what exactly I'm aiming for. As you saw, there's going to be a mountain and a cabin and things like that. So, applying the white over the entire canvas. And while I do that, I'm going to let you know that I actually was inspired by a painting that I saw once, a very long time ago, in a doctor's office, where it was a horse and some trees, horse and trees. And in the horse and trees, here, hang on, I've got the name of it here. It is The Blank Signature 1965 by Renee Marguerite. And I'll put a picture here. Bam! Picture. And in that picture is a kind of illusion where there's like the horse and the trees and everything kind of like melds into one, and it's really weird. And I was kind of inspired by that painting and how it with the stripes. That's why I decided to do the stripes with this painting, but I'm obviously not doing some kind of optical illusion. I'm just painting the summertime and then the wintertime, which will be part two, as mentioned earlier. But I'll mention that again later, probably. That's my thing. But that's okay. So yeah, once you have a nice coat of the white thin down and all nicely on there on the entire canvas, you're then going to grab some of the alizarin crimson, and you're just going to kind of kiss the sky, make it blush. And that's how I call it anyways. I'm sticking to that. And so here we go with the alizarin crimson, and we're just gonna cover the middle section of the sky to kind of give it a nice pinky blush kind of color through the middle. And yeah, I think it looks real nice. Please enjoy. I'm sorry there are no background sounds of the painting whooshy noises. Painting whooshy noises. There you go. For anybody who wanted that, I went and grabbed a brush just for you. So we're just going in from the outside to make the water at the bottom, because we're going to have a nice little pond at the bottom, and just blending out the pink in the sky. Now we're going to grab some blue. Be very gentle with this blue. It is phthalo blue, and it is very, very strong. I can't say this enough, because sometimes I don't even listen to myself. That's how much blue is on there, and I didn't clean my brush. It's just a little smidgen, just a tiny little dab, and it's going to be enough to do not only the entire sky, but also the water. So here we go. I'm just going to use tiny little crisscross strokes. There we go. We'll have this going in the background for you. Tiny little crisscross strokes across the sky, starting from the very corners, working our way to the inside, trying to blend as much as we can, making sure to be very gentle in the sky. Keep it nice and blended. That's what we want. Everything to be nice and blended. So it'll make like a kind of purpley color in the sky, sort of. Little bit. Maybe a little bit, maybe more in yours than mine. That's okay. We're gonna paint some clouds over top of this, make it nice and soft. We're just gonna take the leftover that's in there, blend it out a little bit more, and make sure we do the water as well in the bottom. Don't forget that part. Just blendy, 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 blendy. There we go. Nice sound effects for you guys. Hope you're enjoying it. A little more roundiness. There we go. And then straight across on the bottom. And then the other side. There we go. Looking real nice there. And blending the whole thing in. There we go. Now that we have that all nicely blended, we're gonna grab some brushes and paint a happy little sky. Because of course we're gonna paint a happy little sky. This painting clearly needs a happy little sky. So I grabbed a brush, just any brush, and grab some of the titanium white, and make sure you have your blending brush ready, and just go ahead and make tiny little circles in the sky. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's okay, I'm talking to you. This is me talking to you about something that I don't remember. That's fine. You just go ahead and put those tiny little circles in the sky. And yeah. Well, that looks really good right there. Actually, I like that cloud. We can give that cloud a name. Like Clarence. That sounds like a great name for that cloud. Clarence. I like it. You know, sometimes if you feel like naming your clouds, you can feel free to do that. But don't forget what you name things, because it's important. I have a tree painting somewhere in Sudbury, Ontario. And the tree is named Eduardo. And Eduardo is a magnificent purple tree. Just absolutely magnificent. And no one's going to tell me otherwise. And he needed a magnificent name to go with how majestic he was. And Eduardo is what I came up with. So anybody named Eduardo who is watching this, you're welcome. I immediately think of you as a very elegant and majestic purple tree. So you're welcome. Anyways, painting more clouds, blending out the bottom and in our little circular motions, and then just fluffing up the top in larger circular motions very, very gently on top, where we're a little more heavy-handed on the bottom. And then once we have clouds that we are happy with, we might put more clouds in. Yeah, we'll put some more clouds in. Why not? A little more clouds. And if you blended them really nicely before, then there should be still a differentiation between the new cloud and the cloud that you had previously. You see how the background cloud is just like a little bit more blended in with the background color? That separation is very important. That's why you blend before you do the next layer of clouds. And then you're gonna blend out the bottom, just like we did. Very importantly, blend out the bottom. And then fluff up the tops. Just real fluffy, real light. You want to be real delicate with that fluff on the top. All right, I think we should do probably one more cloud. That's what I think right now. I don't know if that's what previous used to. Oh yes, I did. Good. I agree. There should be a cloud right there. Totally agree with you. It's a good thing that I agree, because I did it, so it's too late to go backwards. All right, let's just blend out the bottom. Little circular motions. And then once we're happy with that blend, we will then fluff up the top real gentle like. That's a really good cloud. I like these clouds. They're nice. Nice little friends for Clarence. Clarence the cloud. Yeah. When you guys paint, I hope you guys name your cloud something interesting. Please let me know if you have a better name for anything in any of my other paintings as well. Please feel free to leave a comment of what you think that thing should be named. Like maybe you were like, that mountain in that one painting that you did a while ago, that mountain should have had this name. And then I'd be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, all right, let's name it that. It's good. This is my world as much as it's yours. So please feel free to be a part of it. We're now going to mix a purple color, and that's that little roll of paint that's really important. The purple color is a mixture of the Phthalo Blue and the Alizarin Crimson, much more Alizarin Crimson than Phthalo Blue. And we're just going to find out where we want our mountain to be. Let's just plop it right in there. That little roll of paint excuse me, is very important when doing mountains and using the palette knife in general. You want to make sure you are always using that little roll of paint to shape mountains. It does real good. And keep in mind also when you're doing your mountains, you don't want them to be just triangularly shaped. You want to keep in mind them in three-dimensional space so that they are not just straight up triangles. You want to have a little bit of interest in bumps and characters and curves and things like that. And you don't want them to be just straight triangles. Of course, they start as triangles, as you can see here. They start as triangles. But using your brush, you can kind of define and shape where it is. Here are some sound effects. Define and shape where you want those mountains to be. So this mountain right now is in front of that one. But then if I do this, then maybe it's not, you know? So you can just shape those out any way you want them to be so that you know which mountains are in front of what and where they're going. And then we'll just blend that out. And that takes the care of the excess paint that is on your canvas from the palette knife, and also allows for a nice dark background for all of the highlights to go on top of, which is going to be real nice. So we're just going to blend that out. And there we go. Pulled that one right in front because I wanted that one to be in front. And there we go. We're just going to blend that right out. Knock some of the excess off of my brush here. Dab in a little bit extra color because that part didn't get a lot of color. And then pull it right back out again. Beautifully done. And there we go. So, keeping in mind that mountains are not strictly triangle, this is me telling you about it in the actual visuals, which is nice. Keeping that in mind, we're going to mix some colors off to the side. One is going to be a purplier color and one is going to be a pinker color. And the pinker color is going to be, so you can see here, you don't want that straight line. That straight line you do not want. You want it to be a little bit more variegated in how it's going. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to scratch in something. So you can see that little curve, that C line, that's what you want your highlight to be on the one side, whoops, versus the other side, so that it ends up being not a straight line, so that it's not just a triangle, so that your mountains end up having three-dimensional space where they curve and grow and shape and are interesting and have characteristics and have their own personality. That's what you want your mountains to have. So, and you know, I think Clarence deserves to have a very interesting, a characterful mountain range here. So taking our highlight color, which has a little bit of pink in it to kind of represent that pink sky, you're just going to come in and lay down that highlight. So you can see how it curves there. That's important to make that shape look different. And again, with the palette knife, you want to be as delicate as a whisper. You just want to be like super, super soft, just like butterfly kisses, like really, really gentle, only letting the paint on the palette knife touch the canvas so that the canvas takes off the paint that it wants. And that's how you get those lovely breakages in the paint there. And that's what you want. So after we finish the highlights, which we're almost done here. Yeah, let's connect those two mountains. That looks good. I like that. I'm not sure it ends up being like that in the end, but that's okay. Also, it's over the tape, so no one really knows, but we know it's there. It's our little secret. So now we're going to do a darker, a shaded color, and that's going to be a little bit more of the purpley shades. So it is still lighter than the background purple, but it is a lighter purplier color. And using that, we're going to shade in all of our shaded parts of the mountain. So you can see in that little curve area, it's a little bit tricky, but we're going to come in and just paint that curve area. And again, being very gentle with the knife. And then come in and just do a little bit of that over there. And then, yeah, I think we're going to change the shape of that one. That's what BSW did. She changed the shape of that one just so it has a little bit more of that curvature in it as well. Give it some excitement. Because that's what we want. We want a little excitement. And you can move these mountains around however you want to move your mountains around. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your mountains. That they're your mountains. They're not anybody else's. So you can put your glaciers where you would like. You can put your highlights wherever you would like to shape the mountains however you would like. Just that if you want them to be less triangle shaped, then keep that in mind to make them look more realistic, because mountains are very rarely strictly triangle shaped. That'll make them look a lot more like a pyramid and less like a mountain that has, you know, weathered, seen storms. And that's what you want. So just shaping and moving and shaping and moving until we get a shape that we're happy with. And yeah, now that we have a shape that we're happy with, we're gonna come in with a lighter color that's kind of like, oh, I forgot. We gotta mystify the mountain. So following the angles is very important to keep in mind. The angles of your mountain, follow those angles. So you can see I'm going this way with this side of the mountain and just dabbing very lightly with a clean dry brush, and then the other way for the other side of the mountain. It's very important to make sure you're staying with the angles of the mountain. And just dabbing down the bottom, make a little misty area that's kind of lighter and purplier. And that's what we want. We have this little misty area. And then we're gonna just very gently, after we have a nice misty area, lift upwards. Just like 2 whispers of a hair of this brush. You want to be super gentle with your brush when doing this. Like, I can't say how gentle. Very gentle. The most gentle you could be. Now that we have a mystified mountain, we're going to mix a nice purpley color that's kind of very similar to the colors that you see at the bottom of the mountain there, but a little bit darker. We're going to use our fan brush. And our fan brush, we are going to load up both sides, a lot of paint, and it's going to be in that purplyish kind of color. And we're going to use that purplyish color to make some trees. Now, when making these trees using a fan brush, what you want to do is take your fan brush, and you can see I've only got paint on that top corner, and you want to like stab them down, but pull down gently. And I do mean very gently. We're not pulling down a whole heck of a lot, just a little bit. And generally, the faster you go with this, the better, because then you pull down less and you just kind of dapple more. And that's what you want to do. You want to kind of dapple, stab that canvas, just stab, stab, stab to make it fab, fab, fab. If I can quote, that's not what Simply Nailogical says. She says dab. I'm going to say stab. You want to stab that canvas a little bit, and if you run out of paint, just go ahead and grab some more and then come back to it. And that'll be great. And you can do an entire forest this way really, really quickly. And I like that. I like being able to do an entire forest really quickly. I find that makes my life easier. So I just do that. And after we have a nice little forest going on here, we are going to take a nice clean dry brush, and using that brush we are going to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, we're going to stab the canvas some more, but in much more of an up and down to try and make some mist going on. And then in the middle section we're going to pull it down slightly to make kind of a reflections. I don't think I do that just yet, but I believe I do it at some point to make reflections. Because this is some like misty waters that are far away in the distance. Alright, there we go. Dapple, dapple. Dapple, dapple. Oh, maybe I don't pull down here. Well, I pulled down in the winter one. Heads up for that. But that's okay. So now we're going to mix some of the white with the goop to make a nice thin white. And if it has a little bit of the purple in it, that's fine. We don't really, it's not too particular that it has to be the purest of white. So if your palette knife is not perfectly clean, that's probably fine. And then you're going to take it on the little roll of paint like you normally do, and then you're going to push really hard. You want to bend the knife there. And that's very important when doing these water lines, because it ends up giving this water effect that is very cool and very easy to do, because you just got to push really hard, which is opposite of what you usually do with your palette knife. So that makes life a lot easier. Now, we're not too concerned about the rest of the area because we're going to be doing like trees and a cabin and stuff. So let's bust out some sap green and paint some bigger trees. Now, they might have to be a little bit thinned down in order to be able to go over top of the paint that you have for the mountain, which is fine. You're just going to use a little bit of the goop to thin it down, and then you're just going to kind of make a straight line and then go in like a Z fashion, side by side, over top of the kind of straight line that you started. And you can see I didn't thin it down quite enough, so I just have to thin it down a little bit more and go back over that part. And there, now it looks beautifully like a big old tree, which is just magic how that happens. We're gonna have like hills and stuff down here, so you don't have to really worry about that part just yet. But there's our first big old tree. And I think our big old tree here needs a friend. So let's go ahead and grab some more paint. And let's decide, maybe right over here. Yeah, right there. That looks great. I agree. Yeah, that looks really good there. Now, mind you, there is the tape there, so you don't really have to worry about the stuff that's underneath the tape. Obviously, we know that we're gonna paint another painting eventually, but you know. Let's go to the other side. Let's do another tree over here. That looks really nice. Keeping in mind that back and forth kind of Z pattern that you want for your, Z for all of my American friends. Z. Sorry. Could tell I'm really American by apologizing all the time and saying Z. But yeah, just get some friends, get some character, throw some trees down. That'll look really nice there, behind the cabin. That's where that is. I think we're gonna have the cabin on that side. And we're just gonna go ahead and I'm having a lot of fun painting these trees. Let's put another one in right about there. Yeah, that looks good. Have a little baby tree. Little baby tree. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. Look how cute that little baby tree is. Very nicely done. Should we have another baby tree over here? Well, we need to have more grass for sure. Let's put in some grass. Yeah, definitely some grass. That looks good. Make nice hill shape. That's what you can do with your fan brush really easily, is make kind of a hilly shape, because it's already got that rounded angle on it, so it helps to make things rounded, which is nice. Ooh, this is a big old hill. And there we go. That looks really nice. I like it. I hope you guys like it too. But I think it is time. I think it is the elusive time for the cabin. So, get out your palette knife, and we're just gonna scratch in, before we do anything, some idea of what we're gonna do here. So you gotta have like the one side, and then you have the other side. You gotta make like a triangle, and then you gotta scrape that triangle straight down. And then you want to like go over to like make it, you know, house shaped. So you're just gonna come back in with some color, do the two eaves. Even though most of this is on the tape, that's okay. So there we go. Got our front of our house there. That's the part that really matters, because that's the part that you're gonna see right now. But we're just gonna go ahead and put it in anyways, so that you guys know that it's there. It's our little roof. Oh, I knocked the camera. I'm so sorry. There we go. There's our cabin. Beautiful little cabin. Now, I am taking this as an opportunity to practice cabins, because we did recently get a new Patreon follower. Thank you so much for joining us on Patreon. And they like cabins. So we're gonna practice cabins here. So there may be a lot of cabins going on my YouTube as I practice cabins, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. So there we go. We're just gonna take the knife and kind of dapple it up and down to kind of make wooden log kind of effect. And you can see here our cabin is shaping up nicely. And we're gonna take a little bit more red, more little alizarin crimson, to make the roof area, have it like pop out just a little bit, even though it's on the tape and it's gonna disappear, it's gonna get thrown out. But that's okay, you know, we know it's there, and that's the idea. So here we go, little highlight on that roof. There it is. See that roof? It's a beautiful little roof. Yeah, that looks really cute, actually. I'm pretty proud of that. That looks pretty good. So why don't we go ahead and like put a door. Yeah, I think we should put a door on that. I don't know what I was pointing at, but you're welcome for the pointing. Let's go ahead and get that door. Be stupid, get your head out of the frame. Honestly, ruining everything. But paint a little door with some more of the brown. A nice dark brown door going on there. And then let's grab a little bit of yellow and some of the goop so that it's nice and thin, and put a little window. I think this cabin needs a little window. I think that would be really cute. So I think that's what I'm gonna do in a moment, is grab a little bit of yellow and goop, mix it on my brush, and put in a little window. Now this may take a bit because it's gotta go on top of all of the layers. So feel free to put as many layers in as you would like to make it nice and bright. Keeping in mind that a thin layer sticks to a thicker layer. So you want it to be nice and thin. Let's go ahead and realize that we don't need to put another window on that side because it's on the tape. So don't bother. See, that was me realizing that all of a sudden. All right, do a little cabinectomy, shape it up a little bit, even the parts that's on the tape. It's important for practice. And then we can come in and put in some more grass. So this is our grassy hill on this side. That's gonna kind of meet the other grassy area on the other side to kind of finalize the little grassy area. And just like our round lake painting, this lake has more of a grassy shore than a beachy shore. But if in your painting, when you're doing this, you want to have a nice beachy shore, you go right ahead and you do that. Maybe the next one I do, I'll have a beachy shore to it. Obviously, the next painting that is in this one is the winter one, but maybe the next cabin painting I do, I don't know. But let's put in a little path with our palette knife here, so they have a path to get down to the water. Because everybody who has a cabin at the woods obviously has a path down to the water. Because why would you live by the woods if you couldn't, go down to the water? Makes sense. Let's put in some bushes. Let's put in some bushes. So we're gonna get a nice round brush and get it loaded thick with the green paints here, and put in some bushes. Pretty sure that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And you're just gonna load it all in one direction, then flip it over and push down with the rounded side up. And when you're happy with your bush, you can go ahead and do another bush. And get all kinds of bushes going on. I think one should be right there. Yes. You get one right in there. And in the corner here. Yeah, that's good. And then maybe there's one over here. Yes, I think that's a good idea. All right, and now we can highlight those with some yellows, maybe a little bit of red. Oh, we're gonna do a rock first. Let's do a rock first. I do like painting rocks. So you're just gonna do the dark and then highlight with a little bit of the lighter color. Very gently, just like you paint a mountain. That's a good rock. Let's do another one right over, maybe, yeah, here. That's great. That's a great place for a rock. So the path comes down, and then you can sit on the rock and fish. It's a great place. Don't forget the highlight. There we go. Nice little highlight. There, oh, that's good highlight. Good highlight right there. Yeah, Looking great. Are we going to highlight the bushes? There we go. Let's highlight those bushes. I knew it would happen eventually. I had faith in me. So we're going to use a mixture of like yellows and maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson to just give it a little kiss of some colors. And if it's too dark, feel free to use a little bit of the titanium white to make it a little bit lighter in color. And just go ahead and do the same thing that you did for the other bushes, just very gently on top. And that'll give us some nice colorful bushes going on. There we go. Help define those bushes, make them exist. Let's put one right there. Beautiful. Right at the end of that path there. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed that painting. I think it looks pretty good. Let's do the very satisfying tape reveal. And I say very satisfying as it gets caught on things, but it's very satisfying to pull the tape. If I could, I would give you sound effects of tape right now, and I'm sorry that I can't. But part 2 will have sound, I promise. So now you can see that part 2 will be going in the parts of tape that I'm revealing right now, which is very exciting to have in these little channels. I think it's going to be loads of fun to fill in the in-between area. Now, you will want to make sure that your painting is completely dry between part 1 and part 2. So if you're watching these part 1 and part 2 back to back, please make sure that you let your painting dry fully between part 1 and part 2, as I did. But that's why we're doing this in part 1 and then part 2, because you have to make sure that your painting dries completely between the layers. Well, it's not layers, between the paintings, because you're going to be putting tape down on those sections that we just painted. Oh, our poor cabin. Goodbye, cabin. That's okay. We'll do the winter version and have a nice cabin there. Whoops. There we go. Beautiful. That was very satisfying. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys sitting there and watch. I hope you enjoyed this painting. I think it looks just fantastic, just splendid, just wonderful. And if you guys would like, it'll be available on my Etsy. As always, I would like to give... Oh yeah, we're gonna fill this in. That'll be the cabin for the winter. Don't you worry about it. We're gonna do that. But as always, thank you guys so much for supporting me, and a special shout out to all of my Patreons whose names are scrolling by. I really appreciate you guys supporting me and making sure that I continue to be able to do this. If you guys would like to join, all the links are in my description box below. And thank you so much. Please remember to come back for part 2 next week. And remember that you are loved and you deserve to be loved. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Mwah! Bye!